behalf of Association of Ayurvedic Physicians, High Commission of India, Indira Gandhi Center for Indian Culture and Ayur Yoga, I welcome all of you on the 6th Ayurveda Day 2021.
Om Vishwani Deva Savidurduritaani Parasuva Yabhadrantanasuva Om Agninaya Supatharaya Yasman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidwan Yuyodhyasmajjuhurana Meno Bhuishthante Nama Uktim Videva Om Agnimre Purohitam Yajyasya Devam Ridvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
On behalf of the Association of Ayurvedic Physicians, I welcome you all again. His Excellency Shri Prithviraj Singh Rupan, GCSK, President of the Republic of Mauritius, Honorable Dr. Kailash Jagatpal, Minister of Health and Wellness, Honorable Manish Govind, Attorney General and Minister of Food, Agro-Industry and Food Security, High Excellency Srimati Nandini Singla, High Commissioner of India, the Director of IGCIC, Sri Balwant Thakur. As you all know, Ayurveda is a science of life which originates from the Vedas. And I will not be too long. The next speaker is Dr. Rohit Bartake, who is from the Maharshi Ayurveda, and he will speak how Ayurveda has given Amrit.
Good afternoon, good evening everyone. I would like to start by Dhanvantari Stavan. Namami Dhanvantari Deva Sura Suray Vandita Pada Padmam Loke Jararuk Bhayamrutyu Nashanam Datar Isham Vividaushadhinam. Lord Dhanvantari, as we know, is a god of Ayurveda. So these are some words in where we praise the Lord. So we say that I go down, Lord Dhanvantari, you are worshipped by both gods and demons. May your divine power bless the people of this world and bring them out of sufferings, ailments, old age and fear of death. And today, during the COVID times, we need the blessings more and more from Lord Dhanvantari. When we talk about Ayurveda, we should we can always mention the name of His Holiness Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, who was felicitated by the Government of India Ministry of Ayush in 2018 for reviving Ayurveda and propagating it globally since 1985. Today, Maharshi Ayurveda is present in almost 70 countries of the world, with a lot of modern medicine practitioners practicing Ayurveda as a integrated medicine along with their modern medicine practice. So my presentation today will be correlating some aspects of modern medicine and Ayurveda which now are seen by the latest scientific research to be very, very relevant. So let's start with Ojas and Soma. So according to Ayurveda, Ojas is something that is formed in our body, which is the finest byproduct of our digestion. And to have that finest byproduct of digestion, the nervous system should be completely free of stresses and strains, and only then it functions to the optimal level, and the essence of the food we eat is Ojas. And Soma has a reference in Vedic teachings. Many of you must have heard Rig Veda, where in 10th Mandala, Soma has been mentioned. And Soma, according to Vedic tradition, is said to be a biochemical which allows to experience the higher states of consciousness, and it sharpens one's perception. This is a biochemical which is formed only when the nervous system is very free from stresses and strains, and certain genes are turned on when we reach to that state. So what is the importance of Ojas? Ojas actually helps us to have a strong immune system. It leads to glow and lustre on the face. At the same time, we can experience bliss and higher states of consciousness. So sattvic foods, as we can see, sattvic foods, I have given some examples. These are the foods when we eat regularly in our diet. They help to enhance the quality of Ojas and directly influencing the immune system of our body. Now I am going to talk about Ama. And Ama in Ayurveda is said to be something that is the toxins, or there is a sutra which says Ushmano alpa balatvena dhatum adyam apachitam dushtam amashay gatam rasam amam prachakshate. So if you want to understand it in simple words, if our digestive system is not functioning properly, if the Agni is not good, digestive fire is not well ignited, at the same time we keep eating when we are not hungry, we just keep eating only because it is time to eat, then what happens is the food which is eaten doesn't get completely digested, and when it is this undigested food then is supplied to the whole body, it is also known as free radicals or Ama. Now coming to autophagy. Autophagy is something which has been now recently discovered, and a Nobel Prize was given in 2016 to a Japanese scientist, and his name is Dr. Yoshinori Oshui, and his research was on autophagy. And let's see the similarities between autophagy and Amapachana, which is a part of regular Ayurvedic prescription. So auto means self and phagy means to eat. What happens is autophagy has been identified as a mechanism to purify the waste physiologically. It helps to eliminate the virus, bacteria and the funguses on its own. These eating cells, they get activated after 12 hours of eating food. So the gap between the dinner and the breakfast is the most critical to activate this process of autophagy in our system. What happens is, when we stay hungry, and Ayurveda always talks about eating food only when we are hungry. So this allows the Agni or the digestive juices to be at the optimal level, and then the quality of digestion is better, and this process also is activated. So what are the golden rules of Ayurveda? Eat only when you are hungry, don't overeat, avoid wrong food combinations, don't eat too late at night, and stale food also is to be avoided. Ayurveda has always considered this gap after dinner, approximately 12 hours before breakfast, and which stimulates this Amapachana, and Dinacharya or the daily routine which we follow, the spices which we use in our meals on a daily basis, our food habits, and the most important here is the sixth taste. We call it Shad Rasa. Ayurveda, when it talks about a balanced diet, it means that we should have little bit of each taste in our diet. And there are some researchers which are now showing that if you are having a balanced meal with all the six tastes, the vitamin B12 deficiency, which is a big problem now, many people need to take injections. There are a lot of diseases which are connected to this B12 deficiency, and the Shad Rasatmak Ahar has proved to be very supportive to actually have good levels of vitamin B12. Then coming to microbiome. This is a very upcoming topic in the modern medicine world now. And Ayurveda, we knew always about Apan Vayu. And if we see the Ayurvedic classical texts like Charak Samhita, it says maximum diseases, 80% of the diseases are due to vitiation of Vata, one of the, we can say, physiological units of our body. And specifically, below umbilicus is the space, or we can say is the main area for Vata in our body. Apan Vata is the main Vayu which is located there. What has been seen by modern scientific research that this gut microbiome, it actually weighs up to 2 kilograms, which has a lot of bacteria, fungus and viruses, as if it is an organ in itself inside our own physiology, which with all the virus and bacteria. And the number is estimated to be 30 trillion. This much bacteria we are carrying in our gut. And now it has been seen that microbiome interacts with our brain. So there is a connection with the gut and the brain. So it's called gut-brain axis. You can see here. And most of 80% of our immune system is directly dependent on the lining of the gut. So if we have good microbiome, if the bacteria or the essential bacteria which are supportive of our system, if they are in a good quantity in our gut, this actually leads to a strong immune system. So now again coming back to Ayurveda, Apan Vayu or Vayu was supposed to be always one of the prime dosha which gets imbalanced, and there are a lot of treatments. Today if I say that if you see the diseases which are linked to this gut microbiome, there is a whole list like overweight, diabetes, heart diseases, cancer, irritable bowel syndrome, allergies, anxiety, depression, colitis. Almost all the diseases which we see today, the modern medicine is now finding that this is connected to the gut microbiome. So what are the causes? This is very important. One-sided nutrition. To eat a similar food throughout the year, we keep eating the similar food. So this is also one supporting factor for having depleted microbiome. So if you are eating less pulses and vegetables, what happens is there is an automatic gap that is created between the microbiome, because certain bacteria, they feed only on these pulses and the vegetables which we eat. So these bacteria, if they are not getting that nutrition, they die off, and then our microbiome is not good. There are certain, eating excess sugar is one of the factors, stress, lack of sufficient fibers in our food, like fast food, is also cause of depletion of this microbiome. Sleep, physical inactivity, C-section. If a baby is born artificially through C-section, it has not passed to the natural lining, through the way it is naturally born. So the immune system which gets triggered when the baby is born naturally. That's why the baby also can be little bit less in immune. Short or no breast feeding. This also depletes the microbiome. And the most important, inherited. So the microbiome is passed up to 4 generations. The bacteria which you all are carrying today in your gut, these have come from 4 generations what your ancestors carried those bacteria. This has been proved now. It is carried up to 4 generations. So you pass on the bacteria also along with the genetics. And what are the Ayurvedic ways of eliminating this, which is always important? Reducing stress by transcendental meditation, Ayurvedic diet and lifestyle, spices. Garden work is very important because you come in contact with many bacteria when you work in the field. And prebiotics and probiotics, taking them regularly in our diet. So what I would like to say here is, today the modern medicine is doing a lot of research on the concepts which have been already taught by Ayurveda thousands of years ago. So the time has come when we start integrating Ayurveda with the frontline modern medicine treatment which has always been beneficial and boon for the mankind. But if we start integrating the traditional knowledge and start incorporating in our daily practice, the non-communicable diseases like in Mauritius, 80% of the medical budget, it goes to non-communicable diseases which can be avoided. More than 80% of those can be avoided. So if Ayurveda is integrated along with the modern medicine, I'm sure it will create a lot of healthy citizens in Mauritius, and what we can say, it's already a paradise. So disease-free society can be created by incorporating the principles of Ayurveda in the mainstream line of treatments in day-to-day life. Thank you.
Thank you,